Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Cooking for the Family. I'm Dyvonne and today I'm going to share with y'all how I make my cheeseburger casserole. These are the ingredients that we're going to be using. I'll also have a list of ingredients in the description box below, but I'm going to share with you how I take these ingredients and put them together to make this wonderful casserole for my family. I have here some of my ground beef. This is 1.5 pounds of ground beef. I'm using lean ground beef. I've got some sharp cheddar cheese. I cannot wait to share this recipe with all of you. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with my onion. I'm using a yellow onion, but you can also use a white onion as well. I'm going to use half of the onion. This is a medium to a large onion that I have. And we should get roughly about 1 cup of the chopped onion. Now if you are new to my channel, welcome in. And if you're a returner, welcome back. And on my channel, I enjoy sharing with all of you what I cook and bake for my family in my kitchen. And so I hope you enjoy spending time with me as we make our cheeseburger casserole for dinner tonight. And if you enjoy this video, don't forget to show it some love and give it a thumbs up. So once I have all of my onion nice and chopped, I'm going to set the onion aside. And when I chop the onion, I like to chop the onion that I'm using into like dime-sized pieces, not too big, because we're going to be sauteing our onion as well. And so you don't want too big of a piece. It's just kind of like small bite size. So I have some green onion here, and I grow the green onion and some other herbs in my herb garden. It grows really thick, and so I don't need too much of it. You're only going to need about 1 to 2 tablespoons of the green onion, or you can also use chives. And we're just going to be putting some inside our recipe, as well as we're going to have a little bit that we're going to garnish with on top. So I'm just going to chop about a tablespoon for now, and that's going to go inside our recipe. I've got my onions chopped and ready to go. Time to start on our other ingredients. And so what I do next is I go ahead and I brown my ground beef. Now the ground beef that I'm using is an extra lean ground beef. I'm using the 93% to 7%, meaning it's only 7% fat to the ground beef. Now once I kind of get my ground beef started, I go ahead and I add in that chopped onion. So I don't add the chopped onion right away. I let the ground beef go for a couple minutes, and then I go ahead and add in my onion, because I don't want the onion to overcook it all. I just want it to become nice and soft before we start building the rest of our recipe for our casserole. Now also you can use ground turkey if you like. Now if you are using an 80-20, so an 80% to 20% ground beef ratio, and you're going to have a little bit more drippings in your pan than I'm going to have, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you drain off any of those excess drippings that are in your pan. I'm going to season my ground beef with some garlic powder, and I'm going to use a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Next, I'm going to add in some salt, and I'm going to be using some kosher salt, and I'm going to put in a half a teaspoon of kosher salt. Now, if you only have regular table salt on hand, you can definitely use that as well. And so once I have my salt and my garlic powder together, I go ahead and give my ground beef mixture a stir. And you know what? We almost forgot one thing. I forgot to add in our black pepper. I just use 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, but in the description box below, I will have a list of the ingredients for y'all. And so once I put my black pepper in, I make sure that my ground beef is cooking good. And if I have any big chunks, I like to go ahead and break down those big chunks. And when I'm doing this, my fire is on a medium. I'm cooking the beef on a medium to a medium high heat. Now, once my ground beef is looking really good, we're going to add in our cheddar soup mix. So this is the cheddar cheese condensed soup, and we're going to be using a total of 2 cans of the cheddar cheese soup mix. Now, our casserole is going to be enough to easily feed a family of 6, but you can definitely reduce the recipe down to half if you're just going to be feeding 2 or 3 people. And it makes great leftovers for the next day, for lunches, great leftovers. So I have my 2 cans of the cheddar cheese soup, and then I'm going to add in 1 can of milk. And you can use either 2% milk or whole milk. I'm actually using 2%, so you can either use the whole milk or the 2% milk. Now once I have the cheddar cheese condensed soup, the 2 cans in there, and then my 1 can of milk, I go on and I want to make sure that I want to blend in the beef mixture with the cheddar cheese soup as well as with the milk, and you're going to see how it's starting to become that nice one cohesive color. You don't want to have any streaks of the cheddar cheese condensed soup in there. You want to make sure that it's all just like one nice blended color together. Then I'm going to go ahead, let this come to a nice simmer. Now while that's simmering, now I'm going to start on the noodles. I don't want to start the noodles too soon because we're just going to cook the noodles till al dente. Now I'm using the wide egg noodles, and I'm using 8 ounces of the wide noodles, which is basically 4 1/3 cups of the dry noodles. Now you can also use the rotini noodles too, those little spiral noodles. You can use those as well if you have those on hand. So once this is at a nice simmer and it's looking good, it's smelling good, and it's really coming together nicely, what I do then is I'm going to go ahead and add in some sour cream, and I'm adding in a 1/2 cup of sour cream. I like to add the sour cream in at this point so the other ingredients have a chance to really come together before I add in the sour cream. And that sour cream really helps to make the casserole nice and creamy. And so once I have the sour cream and it's totally been incorporated in with the cheese mixture, I'm going to let everything simmer for about 5 minutes more. And then after that 5 minutes and it's been simmering, this is a good time for you to go ahead and taste it to see if you want to adjust the seasoning at all. You can add more garlic powder if you prefer, or a little bit more salt, or a little bit more pepper. It's tasting good, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my chopped green onion, and I'm adding in just that 1 tablespoon. Now with the chopped green onion, I like a little bit more, but not everybody in the family is a fan, so they don't want too much, but definitely the chopped green onion, you can add a little bit more. And so I always have some to the side just to garnish on top as well. Now once I do that, after I add the green onion, turn off your fire, turn my fire off, and then I add 1 cup of my shredded cheese. I'm using sharp shredded cheese. You can also use a medium cheddar cheese as well. You can use a blend like a Kobe Jack, also works nicely. I like the sharp. It really gives that really nice flavor to the casserole, and it really puts you in mind of like that cheeseburger taste. Our noodles are done. They're a nice al dente. I'm going to go ahead and drain our noodles, and we're going to start putting together our casserole. I have a 13 by 9 dish that I have buttered on all sides, including the bottom, and I'm starting off by putting in our hamburger mixture, and I want to make sure that we're going to do about 3 layers, and so I'm just going to go ahead and start first with the hamburger mixture. Then I put in my pasta. Now I had mentioned earlier that you can also use the rotini pasta, but you can also use the macaroni noodles as well, and you would still need the 8 ounces of the noodles, no matter what kind of noodles that you're going to be using. Then after I put the noodles, I layer it with some of the cheese, about a 1/2 cup of the shredded cheese. And then also while I'm doing this, I have my oven, I'm preheating it on 350 degrees, and our casserole is going to bake for about 30 to 35 minutes until it's nice, hot, and bubbly, and our cheese is melted, and our casserole is nice and creamy. And so I continue the layers of the noodles. After I do the beef mixture, I'm going to put on some more of the sharp cheese. And something else is that if you have like 2 different kind of cheeses, if you want to do a little bit of sharp, a little bit of medium cheddar, you can do that as well. The recipe is very forgiving, meaning that you can go ahead and add a little bit of this and add a little bit of that, and you can definitely tweak it to your liking. But this is the way that I make it for my family, and they've been loving it ever since. And I go ahead and finish with the last layer. So our last layer is going to be our beef and cheese mixture. Then we're going to top it with some more of our shredded cheese. And you want to put enough cheese that you cover the top layer from end to end with the cheese. Now before we cover our casserole with some foil, we're going to spray our foil with some non-stick spray. And a viewer shared this is something that she likes to do. It's something that I hadn't always done. And so I'm like, yeah, that's a really great tip to do. And so I went on and I sprayed with some non-stick spray, and we're going to go ahead and put our casserole in the oven. So our casserole has been baking for 35 minutes now. It is out of the oven. It is nice and hot. I'm just going to give it a second. I'm going to go ahead and take the foil off. It is looking good, y'all. It looks so creamy. Oh my goodness. This cheeseburger casserole. I'm going to go ahead and service up some. And tonight, to go with our cheeseburger casserole, I've made a nice garden salad. This also goes great if you want to have some nice steamed broccoli or some mixed vegetables. Either one of those works really good. And I had mentioned before that it makes great leftovers the next day for lunch. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of green onions on top of mine. I went on and topped it with a little bit of the green onions. It's time for us to give our casserole dinner a try. This first bite's for y'all. Are you ready? Go ahead and take your bite. Okay, I'm going to take my bite. See how we did tonight? Y'all, this is one of those casseroles that it is just so comforting. It is cheesy. It's creamy. This is great for a family dinner, or if you're going to have some gathering of people, family and friends, and you want to have a nice dish out that everyone can just partake in, this is definitely it. Well, I hope you give this recipe a try. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go on and hit that subscribe button. It's free. If you like this video, don't forget to show it some love. Give it a thumbs up. Click share. Share this video with a friend or a family. And remember, it's always good when Dyvonne is cooking for the family. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.